My name is Shayla, and I want to be a nurse or an interior designer.
My name is Rami, and I want to open up my own business.
My name is Rebecca, and I want to be a teacher.
My name is Kayla, and I don't know.
Peace Team is a group of student leaders that are co-designing and facilitating restorative practices at Glencliff, and it's formulated on the YPAR model, which is Youth Participatory Action Research, where students identify the social problems they see in their schools, their communities, their families, their world, and then they design solutions to those problems.
I'd just love to hear a few reasons about what made you want to join and be a part of the Peace Team.
I joined the Peace Team mainly because I kind of started in the original one. And it kind of just like motivated me to keep going because from what we started doing. Like we were able to change some things with dress code, we got rid of ISS, and we brought that restorative from here. And then from there on, I wanted to keep doing things to help not just our school, but more schools.
I joined the Peace Team simply because of the word peace. I was like, at that point in my life, like I had been through like negative experiences, and I was like, you know, I'm sick of this. Like I want a more peaceful outlook and like aspect. And I was like, oh, maybe this is like, I don't know, something peaceful. So yeah.
So restorative practices is an approach towards improving relationships within a community and repairing harm done between individuals in the same community. As a Building Bridges program coordinator, I collaborate with Laura Fitz, who's a restorative practices coordinator for Glencliff High School, and she teaches the Peace Team, which is a restorative practices class, and I help support the students and the Peace Team's efforts within the school and the district and state towards advocating for and implementing restorative practices.
And the students have also organized and facilitated solidarity circles, which are advertised and open to the whole school community.
There was an issue going on between like the foreign language learners, students, and we kind of just had a circle with them, kind of to like tell them like, it's okay, like to talk to anybody, they'll be fine. My senior year, we did another circle in school when the shooting at the mosque in New Zealand happened. We wanted to hear like what everybody thought of it, what happened, what is there like, what do they think like could have stopped it or prevented it.
I got to come out of my shell. I met a lot of new people, and I have a lot of different point of views now. Like I can see things differently instead of just being in my space. For me.
At what point in the school year did you know that you felt safe and trusting of the circle?
Me and teacher next door got an altercation. I got in the hallway. I did a circle, and like he calmed me down. Mm-hmm. And I used the still they told me to use. Went in there, saw the issue with the teacher. Mm-hmm. Next following year, the teacher recommended me for the Peace Team. But like, I'm on the Peace Team now. But like, I feel comfortable with the circle because like it gave me a chance to like people hear me out for my wrongs instead of just like coming at me talking about I did this because of that, and I heard my side of the story.
Restorative practices in a school setting is kind of alternative approach as to a traditional punitive school setting, where there's a power dynamic between adults and students, where staff, which are the adults, typically look to control student behavior through discipline and punitive discipline by kind of taking them out the classroom and taking a reactionary approach. Restorative practices is kind of the alternative to that, where in schools it helps deconstruct that power dynamic between adults and students by developing those relationships, developing understanding between students and adults and students as a means to take a more preventative approach towards discipline and just relationships in general.
I always thought like, you know, if you're the one that caused a problem, you're at fault already, like whatever. But from what I learned about restorative practices, I learned that both like sides of the story needs to be heard in order to like kind of just figure out the whole issue.
You know, I think, and whenever students have an issue, you know, a teacher may first ask them to do work, and you know, maybe they may ask them why, what's going on, but kind of that digging deeper doesn't necessarily occur. I think the difference in a restorative school setting is that, it's preventative. So, if you start off your day, your classroom day with the quick check-in, see how everybody's doing, you can kind of get to know that student, and that student gets to know the teacher. It's back and forth. And I feel if that's built over time, and then, a teacher notices that, a student is kind of disengaged, or they're acting differently, or they are kind of, more abrasive and acting out, they kind of know each other going into it already through those practices they've been doing over time.
So me and Mom don't really have a good relationship, and I can use those questions to talk to her, and like she won't come to me as aggressive anymore. She won't be as, manipulative anymore. She'll just actually talk to me like a normal human being. It's just more compromise than competing at this point with restorative practices.
Since I've been with the Peace Team, I've been so impressed by all of you that I feel like I talk about you guys all the time at school, at my program, and specifically, I was at a conference on Friday, and I was talking about how restorative practices can disrupt the school to prison pipeline. And I found myself saying that it's like, I've seen kids who are doing it. Like, I know kids who are doing it right now, and it's possible. So I just want to shout out to you guys for being so inspiring, and literally all these people who I were talking to were hearing me say Glencliff Peace Team is making it happen. So
why is it important for students to lead restorative practices?
Older people, just in general, principals and stuff, they already think no, you're just a student here, no, you do this, no, you're just that, you're just this, right? So with kids leading this, you can really open their mind, especially because all the different point of views and stuff like that, everybody has different backgrounds.
I think I started getting used to the circles and stuff when we started doing our own circles. Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
We made our own circles. It made us we can ask our own questions, and then we can put a quote at the end that meant a lot to us. So that's when the circle, I got used to it.
for me as a teacher, the biggest impact I see the Peace Team having is just on school culture as a whole, and kind of how the school feels. So I'm a very intuitive person, and just the way the school feels is very different to me now than when I was here 6 years ago. And some of that is reflected in our climate survey data. So we've made astronomical gains in belonging and student voice and student-teacher relationships. And I believe that that's at least a partial, if not direct, result of having a student-led restorative practices Peace Team.